So we've been waiting for this specific moment for months and months. Goal readers, you saw our journalists deep diving into some previews about what's going to be happening in January, and we're finally here. But we're at the point where the group stages have finally finished, and we're in the business end of the competition. If you didn't know, I don't know what rock you are hiding under, but it's officially the African Cup of Nations round of 16 knockout stages. Had to get one of the goal journalists to join me on this one, Sheena. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of drama, a lot of things happening within the tournament this year. But the one amazing thing is that African football has been showcased at the highest level to the entire world. So that's definitely always a positive. But I want to know from you, what's your general impression of Afcon this year?
Well, for me, it's a very good show because you have to consider the fact that this tournament was shifted on 2 occasions, and there were fears that we may not have it this year because of COVID-19. But even at that, we've been able to put up a very good show in Africa, and we've sent a signal to the rest of the world that even at every shortest time possible, we can come out with something very good. However, even at this positive, we have a little bit of negative so far, and I'd like to talk about Gianni Sikazue's blunder, trying to stop the game. He stopped a game in the 85th minute when we still have about 5 or 6 minutes left to play. So that was the gray area. And also when you talk about the players, in terms of goal scoring abilities, 68 goals have been scored in 816 attempts in 36 matches. That is a very, very low average scoreline of 22.7 shots on per game. But I feel it's still a good one, and with the round of 16 starting on Sunday, I expect us to up our game in terms of organization, the quality of play, and the fans attendance to the stadium.
Yeah, look, I think it's been very exciting to not only see the fans within the stadium in Cameroon, but I think the fans all over the world, because, it's become a world spectacle, and you see on social media, everyone getting involved and, of course, supporting their various countries, which is incredible. Sure. And if you're a goal reader, feel free to send in your messages on how you feel about the certain things that we're discussing on the show. But there's also been a lot of upsets with some of the biggest teams. Now, I remember I was doing a preview a few months ago on the Afcon, and I was talking about Algeria. I looked at the unbeaten streak, and I said, you know what? Algeria is definitely going to be one of the big dogs this competition. And then all of a sudden, everything just fell apart. One goal in the group stages, qualifying at the bottom. They had that incredible game with Sierra Leone. There was just a lot happening for them, but it just didn't click. And do you think that's one of the big upsets that you can point out?
Well, of course, you talk about them losing to Equatorial Guinea by the 70th minute goal scored by Esteban Orozco, But when you look at the Algerian team, I don't think they came into this tournament with fear factor, because when you look at their preparations for Afcon, just like every other team, I didn't really expect much from them. And I think the big players from the Algerian national team, they didn't live up to billing, Mahrez, of course, many people expected Mahrez to score in every game. But one thing is you have to consider the fact that he's not playing in Man City, where he needs to get all the best players around him. All the players in Algeria right now, I'm sorry to say this, they are below average, and you don't expect anything very big from them. So when you take that away, I think the biggest upset for me was the Comoros versus Ghana. It ended 3-2 at the Rumde Ajia Stadium in Garoua. I think that's the biggest upset, because the Ghanaians needed to win by all means, and they ended up losing 3-2. Ayew got a red card in the first half, and for me, it's a very big, massive upset, because when you consider the FIFA rankings of Comoros, they are very, very far from Ghana, and having in mind that Comoros are playing in their first Afcon, many would have felt, okay, the Black Stars would have, deemed them, dealt with them, but it ended the other way around. And if I'm to pick another upset that occurred in this competition, that's the Gambia versus Tunisia game on the last day of so it ended Gambia 1, Tunisia 0, and that is to show that there are no minnows in Africa, and also the fact that the big teams, they need to step up when the need arises.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's been a lot of comfortability within the big teams, and they've kind of been cruising throughout this tournament. And it's been exciting to see teams, like Gambia, like Comoros, come out and become the surprise packages. But has there been, players that have stood out for you, that have surprised you, that you weren't expecting going into this tournament?
Yes, of course. Let me start from Nigeria. You talk about Moses Simon. Moses Simon,
Yeah.
of course, under Ganotro. Yeah, Ganotro, he was played out of position, and because of that, we're not getting the best of him. But now it seems to be the Lionel Messi of Afcon 2021, 3 assists, 1 goal, and is in line to be the MVP if he continues with this one. So it's one of the standard players so far that I've seen so far. And you talk about Ibrahima Kone. Ibrahima Kone with 3 goals. He has done so well. Ibrahima Kone of the Malian national team. He got a hat-trick of penalties in the last game. So these are players no one expected to live up to billing, and they are wine us with impressive performances.
Yeah, it's been quite exciting. I mean, you look at the Cameroonian Vincent Obaka, who obviously got the players of the group stages, that 5 goals that he scored. And I think it's been quite an incredible and impressive outfit. I mean, when you look at early on, you mentioned, the lack of goals within the tournament. But I mean, for those who are able to penetrate these great African defenses, it's been quite amazing to see all these attacking players and doing the most. I see a lot of messages coming through on our stream, of course, supporting the Super Eagles. We're going to jump into that right now. I think let's look at the round of 16 fixtures. Which one are you excited to see, and what has caught your eye?
Well, okay. You look at Ivory Coast versus Egypt. That is an absolute, pairing. Of course, Egypt, they've not done so well in this competition. They qualified after losing to Nigeria, but they are facing a very strong Ivory Coast team that has KZ and big stars. So this is going to be very, very tough. And on a normal day, people would feel Ivory Coast will defeat Egypt based on current form. But this is football, and don't be surprised if Egypt gets to bounce back and they defeat Ivory Coast. So it's one of the standout pairing for me. And you look at Nigeria versus Tunisia, of course, it's another big one. North Africa versus West Africa, and it's expected to bring out all the best in both teams. Of course, people would say Tunisia qualified as one of the third best teams, but you never can say never in football. This is the knockout stage, and it's all about who gets the chances, who wants it more. So most times you get, because when you remember in 2006, we topped our group in Egypt. We won all our 3 games. But when we got to the semi-final, we lost to Ivory Coast, who were having a topsy-turvy tournament. So this is the knockout phase. Forget about what they did in the group stage, and this is the knockout phase. So those 2 games are the standout fixtures for me in the round of 16.
I mean, you've seen most of the players and the outfits, go out and do their thing. Which player do you think is going to turn around looking at the knockout stages? I mean, we just got a message from Mario Cide saying, go Morocco. Could you look at the eyes of, Roman Saiz up in that team? You got Hakimi in there as well. What other players around, in this round of 16 do you think could turn things around, and you've seen some potential, and this is probably the time they can show that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost for me, I expect Vincent Abubakar to continue with his goal scoring form. Nobody gave him a chance. Judging by his form and judging by the fact that he plays for a less fancy league, but he has so far proven that it's not a matter of where you play, but about your ability. So I'm tipping him to continue his goal scoring form, and I'm also expecting Carl Toko Ekambi to step up his game. And I'm also expecting, again, if you ask me, Nicolas Pepe, he has scored 2 goals, and I expect him to live up to billings by getting the crucial goals. And for Mohamed Salah, 1 goal, the goal is scored against Guinea-Bissau. Well, many expect a lot from him because he's one of the biggest stars in world football now. So he can just turn things around in the round of 16. And basically, on a general note, I think all the sleeping big boys should wake up, and I see them waking up in the round of 16.
Yeah, I think we look at it and we know it's the business end. And I also want to jump into the hosts. I think the hosts have been doing quite well. I mean, you obviously mentioned Vincent Ogobaga and his goals and how his contribution and how he will continue. Could the host find themselves potentially in that final, do you think?
That is a very tough question because you can't
Yeah.
really judge. Yes, of course, their last game in their groups, I think the last group game they played against Cape Verde, they struggled to a 1-1 draw. But when you look at the quality of oppositions the Cameroonians have faced so far, they are not big teams. They face Burkina Faso, they face Cape Verde, and they face Ethiopia. So they are not big boys, and you can't just rate them based on the fact that they place those teams. Even they are playing in the round of 16 against Comoros. They are not also a big team. I see them not getting to the final. I just have a feeling that they may not get to the final, just like it happened to Egypt, 3 years ago when they bowed in the round of 16 to South Africa. Now, this is a tournament of upset. And however, I don't see the Cameroonians going very, very far because as it stands, a day Vincent Abubakar is not scoring, then Cameroon are in trouble. You see Onana conceding silly goals. These are not what
Yeah.
champions are made up of.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think you're right on that. But I think also conversations around. I mean, looking just judging from social media and just judging from certain pundits and journalists, I feel like I'm not sure about you, but from what I've seen in my perspective, is that Senegal is not talked about enough. I don't know. I don't know why. For some reason, with whatever I've seen, I feel like Senegal have gone under the radar. Are they a team that people should definitely, be on the worry about and start looking at them just a little closer, just like the others, like the Nigerias, like the Ivory Coast and Egypts? I mean, we've also talked about Cameroon as well.
Now, I think one of the issues we have in Africa is we always expect all these players, the way they play in
Yeah.
Europe. Of course, they have a star-studded squad, but we always expect them to do what they are doing in Europe. We expect them to bring it to Africa, but we must always have it at the back of our mind that the kind of support these players get from their respective club sides, they don't get them when they get to Africa. For instance, on a normal day, you talk about Koulibaly of Napoli, you talk about Idrissa Gueye of PSG, you talk about Boulaye Dia of Villarreal, talk about Sadio Mane of Liverpool, talk about Ismail Assar, who has been scoring goals for Watford. You have a certain Famara of not Famara, Bonassar of Bayern Munich. On a normal day, you expect a star-studded squad to beat all comers, but this is Africa. It is different. The pattern of play is different, and it's a different ballgame entirely. And having the mind that when you talk about Mane, okay, Mane in Liverpool, he was always scoring goals. He was able to play with good players around him at Anfield. He gets the best of support, the best of passes. But in Senegal, does he get all these things? The answer is no. So it's always very difficult. Now we talk about Didier Drogba. I want to digress a little bit. We talk about Didier Drogba.
Yeah.
We talk about Didier Drogba being one of the best players in Africa, and he never won the Afcon. I think his closest attempt was when they lost to Zambia. So does that mean Drogba is not quality? He's quality, but he wasn't getting the kind of passes, assists, crosses he was getting in Chelsea. So for Senegal, it's one of those things. And don't be surprised at the end of the day you have an underdog winning this tournament.
Let's talk about the winning of this tournament. I mean, just judging from your experience and everything that you've seen right now, who do you think? Give me the two teams that you think are going to be in that final.
Well, patriotism apart, I think Nigeria should get to the final because when you look at yes, of course, patriotism apart, I see Nigeria coming into the final because Nigeria has this kind of antecedent. When we have our back leaned against the wall, we always tend to do very well. We tend to prove bookmakers wrong. Recall in 2013, we didn't have the best of preparation, and even before we played our quarterfinal game against Ivory Coast, those NFF officials, they've already booked our flight back to Nigeria, and unfortunately, we proved them wrong. So nobody gave us a chance to even do well in South Africa 2013, and the same thing now is happening. we are missing the service of the likes of Victor Osimhen, Etebo, and other big stars, Paul Onwashu, and we don't really have a big team so far. So, but the way it's going gradually, many people expected Egypt to defeat us. We showed them the other way around, and we've been progressing. So, if we can scale the Tunisian hurdle, I see us getting to the final. Yeah, I strongly believe Nigeria will be in the final. And on the other side, maybe based on home support, maybe based on the fact that they are playing on home ground and in a very familiar environment, let's say to some extent Cameroon. Yes, of course, because home advantage playing a key role. So at the end of the day, a part of me is saying we are going to see a final between Nigeria and Cameroon. And if that happens, the Indomitable Lions are in trouble. We are going to avenge our loss in 2000.
Oh, I love it, Sheena. Thank you so much, man. This has been incredible. Feel free to let us know down below how you're feeling about the round of 16 that kick off tomorrow. Do you think Nigeria will go all the way? Do you think the hosts will go all the way? Or do you think perhaps, even though they struggled in the group stages, Egypt could turn things around? Let us know in the comment sections, and don't forget to keep following Goal Africa for all the latest on Afcon 2021. I've been Mitch Matiana. That's been Sheena for Goal. Thank you very much.